So enough about the motivations and all the issues having to do with separating the hardware for ME30 and MA106. Let's focus now on what you're going to be doing in ME30. So there are three hardware components that we're going to be using for ME30 besides the laptop that you're going to be that you're already expected to own as an engineering student. So you're expected to get a CPX, Circuit Playground Express, and the appropriate whatever to micro B USB cable that go to your laptop. The cable the USB cable that you need to go between the PC and the board, this board, it's for transferring programs as well as maybe data, and it also provides power to the board. And the PC is necessary for writing the programs, which are drag and dropped over onto the board as if it were a USB flash stick. And you'll see more about that later. So I just said the whatever to micro USB cable. I say whatever on the other end because it's not clear what USB connectors you have on your own particular laptop. Very new laptops, or in some case convertibles or tablets, only have the newest USB Type-C connectors. Many laptops that have been made within the last 3 or 4 years may have both a old standard rectangular Type-A connector on it, and perhaps have a USB-C, and anything older than a couple years ago may only have a Type-A. So let me show you what these cables look like. If I can find my cursor. Wow, where is it? There we go. It was on the other screen. Right, so this is a cable that's got an old classic rectangular USB-A type connector on it. And this connector down here is the micro B. If you have a slightly older phone, this is probably the connector that is used to transfer data and power to the phone. It's also used for charging, like a lot of Bluetooth headphones and things like that. If your earbuds aren't new enough that they happen to use wireless charging. So to see what a USB-C connector looks like, let's just go down here. So this is the newer USB Type-C connector. It's the omnidirectional one. You can flip that connector upside down and it plugs in just fine. And this is the micro B again, which is required to connect to the board. So the only other thing that we recommend besides the board and the correct cable for your laptop is, where's my cursor? There it is this. And this is optional, but it's very highly recommended, and it's a hard, transparent case. It's acrylic, it's not polycarbonate, which tends to scratch a little bit less. And it fits around the Circuit Python Express, or Circuit Playground Express. It apparently snaps around the board, but it still gives you access to everything on the board that you interact with, but it will help protect against most of the possible physical or electrical damage you might do to your board if you're not somewhat careful in handling it. And because the board is basically kind of naked without the case, you can technically destroy part or all of it just by placing it somewhere that it shouldn't be, and you could short circuit different parts of the board across each other. And the case will very likely save your butt in circumstances like that. So it won't save you from liquid damage, and so that's still your problem regardless of whether you have a case or not. So the one thing I will warn you about choosing a USB cable, you may already have a Type A or Type C to micro B cable laying around, but if it's not a data sync cable, data/sync cable, it may in fact be a charge-only USB cable, which are useless for our purposes. Sometimes you'll run into charge-only cables because they come with products like low-end phones or Bluetooth earphones or USB power banks or wireless charging pads. They don't need the data lines that are inside of a data sync cable, and so sometimes they eliminate them to save the 2 cents of cost they're probably saving by not including them. But why you need the data and sync cables will become clear once you start using the board. But I'll tell you now, the dead giveaway about whether you have a useless charge-only cable is whether or not when you plug in your Circuit Playground Express board that it doesn't show up as a drive in your file manager when you plug it into your PC. And if it doesn't do that, you can't program it, and so that cable is useless. So even though the board will get power over that cable and the LEDs and stuff will light up on it, it won't be sufficient for transferring programs that you write over to the board. So now for the logistics about how you buy the hardware that you need for this course. So students are responsible for buying and acquiring their own hardware for this course. In normal times, somebody, me usually, would have bulk ordered a large number of these boards and enclosures, and I would have gotten them a bit cheaper because I would have bought them in bulk and I would have minimized the shipping cost by doing one big order instead of 75 to 100 separate student orders. But unfortunately, with all the uncertainty around enrollment and this whole remote learning situation, I am not willing to do that for this class anymore because I can't predict at all how many are going to get sold, and I absolutely cannot cannot afford getting stuck with a bunch of boards at the end of the semester. So I've done this for the last 10 years, but I cannot do that now. At the current time, I happen to have a few unused CPX boards that I've got through, some previous orders at Adafruit. And if I have any of these, I think I have maybe 4 or so right now, as well as a ton of USB cables that I have from previous kits. Most of them are type A to micro B, but I have a couple of short 6-inch USB C to micro B cables left over from last semester. So if you're local and interested in any of these 4 boards that I may still have, contact me through campus or email or Canvas or email, and we'll come up with a time or a place where you can just get some from me. Otherwise, for the most part, I'd recommend that students go directly to Adafruit. Adafruit is the company that actually manufactures this board, as well as having developed most of the software for it, as well as the enclosure and a USB cable if you think there's any chance that you need a USB cable because you don't already have one that you're sure will work. The product numbers for the board and the case are 3333. I'll show you here. So this is the product page for the board. This is the Adafruit website product page for the Circuit Playground Express. It's $25 and it's that size. And I'll mention this fact later. There is a bulk discount. If you order 10 or more, you do get them for 10% off. So we'll come back to that in a few seconds. So the enclosure, the product number for that is 3915. I didn't highlight the 3333. So there is a similar product on the Adafruit website that looks very similar to the Circuit Playground Express. I'm not even going to show you a picture of it or give you its name because I don't want it to confuse you. So you're looking for the 3333 and the 3915 as the product numbers for the board and the enclosure respectively. The type A cable is product 592, and the type C cable, if you need that, is 3879. So those are the product numbers for if you buy them from the Adafruit website. So Adafruit does have some USB cables that are fancier. I think they've got like LEDs and stuff inside of them so you can tell when they're actually powering the board and stuff. But if you want to track down those specialized cables, you're more than welcome to on the website, but I'm not going to show them to you here. You can buy data sync cables, and that's what they're usually referred to as, at many, many local stores. So if you want to take a chance that you have a cable that you think is going to work and it ends up not working, you can run out to Walgreens or, in some cases, grocery stores, many bookstores, campus store, Fry's, almost any place nowadays. Even a lot of corner bodegas will have USB cables that are labeled data sync cables. So if you get stuck, you can always get yourself a USB cable locally. If Adafruit happens to be out of Circuit Playground Express boards, then it's always possible, it's almost always possible to get them elsewhere. I have seen a few being sold on Amazon. I'm not sure if Adafruit sells them on Amazon, but some other sellers will peddle them. They almost always sell them at higher prices because why would they sell them to you at the price they're probably getting them at? But you can also go through one of the national electronics component distributors like DigiKey or Mouser. So here's an example of the place to the product page for them at DigiKey. They happen to use Adafruit's product number to help get you to the product page. So here is the board at DigiKey. It is, I believe, the same retail price. Yes, $24.95. There's no bulk discount if you get them from DigiKey, which will become important in a couple of paragraphs when I get to that. But here's the enclosure, and they happen to have 100 or so of these in stock also. The other major electronics distributor is Mouser, M-O-U-S-E-R. You can also use the Adafruit product number to help you narrow down it on it, and it is also the same retail price. And they also currently happen to have enclosures too, although a lot fewer, at least than they do boards. So it's a bit of a surprise to me that both DigiKey and Mouser have enclosures. When I checked at the beginning of the summer, neither one of them had them. So they either just started carrying them or they didn't have them, and they do now. So there is one option. The only seller that I know of locally that sells the Circuit Playground Express board, they don't carry the enclosure, is an outfit called Evil Mad Scientist, and they are in Sunnyvale. They're practically right up against the Sunnyvale border. And they're about a 10-minute or so walk from the VTA light rail, the Reamwood station, which is up near the Great America station. It's between the Great America Theme Park and Lawrence Expressway. So they're probably, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 minutes away on light rail. I've already warned you that the plastic cases often aren't in stock at the distributors. So if you happen to order a board from someplace that you can't get an enclosure, you can certainly live without one, or you can get one later, or maybe you can piggyback back on somebody else's order if they're ordering through somebody who is getting their board from somebody who does have the cases in stock. However, as a hack, you can use your board for almost everything by slipping it inside of a Ziploc bag or wrapping it in a layer or two of saran wrap for some protection, and have the cord dangling out of it. The only limitation that I can think of that this might be a problem is there are capacitive touch contacts along the edge of the board, which you'll be introduced to during the course. And those probably will not work through a layer of plastic that covers those contacts. The case that was designed for the CPX has cutouts there, so you'll be able to touch those contacts directly with your finger. But other than that, everything else would work fine, putting it inside of like a baggie. So that's about it for the hardware requirements for the course. The more formal introduction to the hardware itself will be covered elsewhere. That presentation may come, through a regular Zoom lecture, or it may be pre-recorded like this. It's not clear if that'll be done by me or if it'll be done by your regular lecturer. Now, I got to tell you that most semesters I help out with both ME30 and ME106, but last semester when the campus closed and both courses went to remote only, I spent the overwhelming majority of my time helping out with just ME30 and much less time helping with ME106. And I think that this semester I'm probably going to flip that, and I'm probably going to spend most of my time helping out with ME106 rather than this course. So there could be some video material that I do for ME106 or some demos that might be interesting to you here in ME30. And if I think that this is the case, I will definitely let everyone know in ME30 on Canvas as these become available and I post those. For the most part, I put everything on YouTube and I just post the URLs to them in Canvas or Piazza or whichever forum system that either of the courses happen to use in Canvas any given semester. So you could also just subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is the same one that you're seeing this video on, and that'll ensure that you get to see the videos as they pop up, as long as you enable notifications on the channel. So if nothing else, these videos might help you understand what you're going to be doing going forward with hardware and programming in this department. And if the information also happens to be motivational for you to get through ME30, then that's obviously a great thing. There might be a video that probably won't come out until at least mid-semester that I'm planning on doing for ME106, where I essentially demo something that looks like a final project, and maybe some of the design methodology and how you kind of approach a final project. However, that project that I'm thinking about doing will be interesting to you because I think I may end up using this board for that project because it happens that almost everything that I need for that project is already built into this board. So this is one of those cases in which I think that this board could be the basis for a decent or representative ME106 project. The only thing that I may need to do that's unique to that project is I may add one other little piece of hardware dangling off of it, and I'll probably also have a battery connected right to it to power it, so that it's standalone and won't need to be connected to a PC, at least not for power. So please check the syllabus for the date by which you need to have the hardware in hand for you to complete your homeworks and your labs for this course. And to be safe, give yourself, 10 days or so for items to get shipped and to reach you if you're using regular old USPS delivery. So that's pretty much it for this video. I will recommend that if you're so motivated that maybe if somebody wants to lead the effort, they can arrange maybe a bulk purchase of boards, because if you buy 10 or more boards from Adafruit, I'll show you again where this is on the website, you can get a 10% discount if you buy 10 or more. And the same is true of enclosures. If you buy 10 or more enclosures, you'll also get a 10% discount on those. I believe, if I remember correctly, for orders over $200, you get free UPS ground. And for any orders that are over $300, which is basically about 10 boards and 10 enclosures, they throw in an extra Circuit Playground Express. So it's not an extra CPX for every $300, it's one CPX for any order over $300. So that might be motivation for maybe somebody to take the initiative and order 10 or 11 boards plus for the whole class, or at least for students to contact them. And I would recommend using whichever forum in Canvas is used for that. So if somebody's motivated to do that, then that might be a fine thing and everybody can save a couple of bucks by doing that. So that's it for this video. At the end of the course, there will be a survey, and no doubt there will be some questions on that survey for how you feel about using this hardware for the course. And but I suspect you're going to like it a lot. And, good luck with this semester and hope you enjoy the course on the hardware.